Hello friends, family and our creatures here, and welcome back to a best of 5 between the master of disaster, Gumiho himself here in the top right, playing for Team Storm Gaming, and in the bottom left as our yellow Protoss player for Team Alpha X, it is of course Classic. Classic has returned from the military a while ago now, and he's been showing that he's getting back to the level where he once was. He's not quite there yet, but he has the X factor that he had before he left. He still has that, at least I believe he still has it. He has these cute build orders, he kind of plays his own style. He does a lot of one-timers as well, like these builds you can use once and then, well, most likely never again. And he's really fun to watch. I've just been enjoying the ever-living crap out of Classic and Hero playing in the past few months. I'm a little bit biased towards Hero. I like Hero slightly more. I think his playstyle is just really cool. Classic often plays a little less like he's an underdog. Hero is the ultimate underdog player. No matter how much better he is than his opponent, he will pretend like he's the underdog and cheese and all in and take insane risks against players, half his skill level, that he could never lose to in a standard game. Classic is a little bit more safe at times, I would say. He's someone that enjoys playing like longer macro games as well. And Hero, that's not Hero. Hero's quick, he's fast, he goes all out. And this is actually a cool little build order here out of Classic. He's been playing this a lot recently. He showed it in the GSL in his group stage. I can't quite recall what Terran he played against. I want to say it was Ryung perhaps, but he played against the Terran, or Dream it was against Dream. My apologies. And what he does is he uses the Zealot as a way to make sure that the Reaper doesn't enter from a certain position. He opens up with a quick Stargate off of this 99% of the time. I still am not entirely sure what the point is, because often it just it just doesn't seem great. I mean, this Reaper's gonna scout everything. In my mind, he just wasted 100 minerals on a Zealot because he got scouted. This Reaper did some damage, almost even got a worker down as well. So I don't know. Follow up here for Gumiho. Ooh, this is the Reaper Marauder build. Now, this is the build that is known as the build that never wins. It's actually crazy to me how many Terrans have been playing this build and how little wins I've seen with this build. I've seen this build over, well, 13, 14 times at this point, and I think I've seen it get a significant advantage in a single game so far. This build is proper crap, in my mind. I cannot imagine a scenario in which the Reaper into double Marauder is actually good. I just don't know it. I can't see it, I can't imagine it. Against an Oracle, it's obviously not good. Against Blink Stalkers, it is not good because there's going to be enough gateway units to stop this as well. Like, if you have 3 gateway units, and you probably get a warp in if you play Blink in like 10, 15 seconds from now, you're going to be absolutely fine. If it's an Oracle opener, you're going to lose the Reaper and 2 Marauders for free, or at least 1 Marauder for free. This is absolutely nothing. I just don't understand it, really. I really do not. It is a wild opener. Now, a Cyclone is out, a second Cyclone's on the way. You have a Viking starting as well as a 3rd command center. I mean, if you want to scout your opponent, you have the Reaper for that. I don't think you need to sacrifice 2 Marauders. So basically he just traded 2 Marauders and a Reaper for a single probe. He has no Marines whatsoever, which means that any type of push that he wants to be doing will be way less scary. And this is one of the main concepts in this matchup in general. In the Terran versus Protoss matchup is that if Terran delays the reactor on their barracks, it means that their Marine count is very low. And a low Marine count means that life is really easy for Protoss because they know they cannot be pushed. Sure, factory units and starport units are good against a lot of the early game units that Protoss can build, like Vikings are good against Oracles, but majority of the time the real damage comes from the Marines, and also a little bit of the tanking power of these armies tends to come from these Marines. You know, it's not easy to kill 12 to 14 Marines. So the moment you see these 2 Marauders, you immediately can say, alright, it's not going to be any type of early Marine tank push. I am very, very safe in the early game, which can allow you to get a very fast stack while being pretty greedy as well. Triple Oracle into Twilight Council and Forge. This is just insanely greedy. If this was If this was an actual Marine tank Viking push, this would be hard to deal with. But right now, I mean, there's even a Phoenix here. This is absolutely bananas. Going to kill a bunch of workers with these early oracles. Now, there's going to be a Viking in position, but Classic says, hey, I can lose 1 or 2 of my oracles. I don't actually care. If I end up killing, well, what is this, 9 workers? Losing 1 oracle and a Phoenix is definitely worth it for me. Especially oracles. I would have loved if he would have kept that Phoenix alive, but losing 1 oracle out of 3 is not that big of a deal. Sure, oracles are great to have in the mid game with stasis wards and all that, but they do fall off a little bit more against Terran than they fall off against Zerg. Revelation is good, stasis is good, but if you can make a trade like this, 9 workers for a single oracle, yeah, that genuinely is a is a very favorable trade. And this early game for Classic honestly just looks fantastic. It's up about 10 supply. He's up 12 workers. He's going into those 5 extra gateways. Templar Archives, charge, halfway done armor, well, almost halfway done as well. So I'm just loving this position right now for Classic. There's no robotics facility on the way. And it does feel like he wants to push. He's been cutting workers for a little bit now already. I almost would say get a gateway on the map, like 1 gateway on the right side, maybe 1 gateway over here for those quick reinforcements, or increase your worker count by a significant amount. If you want to make... Okay, yeah, here we go. I did not see this. Yeah, if you want to make some type of push, you do need quick reinforcements. And if you don't want to make a push, you need more workers and probably a faster fort base, quicker tech. And the fact that we don't see quicker tech or a fort base kind of gives it away for me. There's also no extra gases yet on this 3rd base. This is something that with a single scan out of Gumiho could be revealed. And that is something that Terrans like to do, especially before their move out timing, because they need to know whether they're being all-in or not. Right now, Gumiho is, well, pretty unaware of that. Stim is done. Combat shield is not. These tanks are not sieged up anymore. There's a lot of zealots coming in. SCV pool immediately as well. Marines in the back dishing out a lot of damage though. This oracle moves in, and I don't actually think this is going to be a hold here for Gumiho. At least not for now. Loses a lot of workers here. And this oracle is starting to work on this command center. Oracle actually gets microed away. Nice little touch there out of Classic. Does not want to lose that quite yet. There's one more oracle in this composition as well. That's a cute drop. Gumiho paying attention to basically everything right now. That's good to see. It's good to see that he's very aware of what's happening. Now, he's still pretty dead in my mind. I think it's going to be difficult for him to survive. But even if he does survive, he's not in a good position necessarily. We already have a fort base on the way here for Classic. He's taking the line fort. I actually believe that this game is just straight up going to be ending here. 6 more zealots move in. GG gets called. Classic wins game number in this best of 5. Here we have our game number 2 played on Curious Minds. That's Classic once again opening up with a cheeky wall over here. First pylon in this position. This is an odd position for the first pylon, huh? I guess it just walls off anyway completely, so it doesn't matter. Cute. Very cool. Okay, so another Reaper wall. We see no quick scout really towards the other side of the map. Now, this has some implications, and this is actually pretty cool to talk about, I think. So, in the Protoss versus Terran matchup, there are 2 major build order openers for Protoss. There are some cheesy alternatives as well, but if a Protoss wants to get a natural and play a 1-gate expand, there are 2 different openers. And the first one is getting the core before the Nexus, and the second one is getting the Nexus before the core. Now, the advantages of the core before the Nexus are a gateway unit that is about 9 seconds faster. However, a slower Nexus and a second pylon before a second gas, so also delayed gas. It cuts about a probe and a half. It cuts your gas by about 50 or 60 or so it delays your tech as well. And we see here a Nexus before core. Now, the problem with Nexus before core is that if you gate scout and you scout around your base, you do not arrive on time on the other side of the map to see whether the barracks is built at home. Now, in this case, it was built at home, so all is good in the world. But imagine that Gumiho proxies a barracks in this location. Classic could be in a world of trouble, because he doesn't scout here, and the Reaper will still be really close to your main base. And because your initial gateway units get so delayed, it can be very tricky. Now, of course, he does get that blind zealot every single game, and here we actually see what I was talking about earlier. So maybe for Classic, this is always a good solution. I just do not quite understand what the point of the zealot is. And it's nice that you can stop the Reaper from jumping in, I guess, but you could also just, if you really want to waste some money, just build a faster third pylon. Everything's gonna get scouted as well right now. Once more, we have that Stargate on the way. Oh! What is this? A mass Reaper opener? This was a 2-gas opener out of Gumiho as well. This is a Terran versus Terran opener. This is something that we do not really see in this matchup very much. Especially not against Stargates. I wonder if he's going to go up to 5 or if he's just going to stick with 3. 3 Reaper, 2 Hellion is of course completely possible. It will time out well. Oh, and the first one is going to be an Adept. There's no battery on the low ground either. Classic has scouted that there was a fast factory, but he's not really respecting it, it feels like. Now that pylon gets built in the main base, the Zealot starts moving down, so there's going to be some units in position. Like, this is a lot of crap though, out of Gumiho. This is a lot of crap. Phoenix is out right now. I think he can fight this. Oh, maybe he can't actually. Zealot is being pretty annoying. These Adepts are dealing a lot of damage as well. This was a good start. This was a good start for Classic. I did not think it would go this well. This was very solid gateway unit movement. We immediately see a follow-up here with the robotics facility, with the double gases as well in the natural. So we know right now that this is 100% going to beat Phoenix Colossi. This is something that Classic has been playing for a while. He's very fond of it. And after such a great opener, I mean, I don't really mind it. These Reapers are going to try to go up the main base. It's of course not going to succeed here. There are 4 Reapers, 2 Hellions. I don't think you can break this ramp. 3 Adepts, 1-shot Reapers. So by the time these units get up, you're already going to be down to 2 Reapers, most likely. And then you get the Shade. And yeah, I just don't think there's enough damage potential with these units. Of course, the moment a Phoenix pops out, life's going to get even harder. The follow-up here for Gumiho seems to be a bit of a 1-1-1 push, though. That is interesting, especially because Classic seems to be at least vaguely aware. No, he isn't. Well, he's a fast third gas. That is kind of weird. If you're Classic here, you'd almost start believing that this might be a battle cruiser. Look at the amount of gas that Gumiho has here. He's just floating 400 gas. And I'm not so sure about this build. Why did he get a fast third gas? Maybe he accidentally thought he was playing Terran versus Terran. This actually has just been an insane Terran versus Terran build order. If this battery doesn't finish though, this could actually be somewhat okay for Gumiho, because he does have a lot of damage output. These Vikings could land, I guess, in theory. Would you want them to land? Maybe you just want them to stay up in the sky. Immortal's gonna join as well. Okay, Vikings dealing some damage against these Phoenixes. This army is going to get pushed back, but the second Cyclone's on the way as well. Phoenix gets taken out. I believe that Classic is chasing a little bit too far here. Definitely should just be heading home, I think. I mean, you have your third base up, you have your Colossi on the way. There is no need whatsoever to go into this. You just, well, maybe there's also no downside though. Maybe it's not about what is necessary. Maybe it's about what is possible here. Classic is just going to be taking out a lot of these units. Cyclone's going to move in as well right now. Gumiho in an absolute world of trouble at this point. It's most likely just kind of dead, actually. I really did not think this was going to work out as well. I thought that this was a risk that he did not need to take, but not enough anti-air here for Gumiho means that he's in a world of trouble. 5 Phoenixes are out, 1 Viking's going to show up as well. SCV's being pulled off the line, and I believe that this is actually just going to be it again. This looks like a completely over game. Immortal gets saved from the SCVs. These Marines don't have enough damage output to take out the Immortal, flying in the sky, levitating like a Wingardium Leviosa. That's going to be it for the second game, and we'll be heading into game number 3. Game number 3 here on Blackburn, as once again we have this very, very busy probe scout coming out of Classic, just looking everywhere he can. He just seems to not care too much about what his opponent is doing. He feels very comfortable with his early game build order, gets that Nexus first, and then just throws down that Cybernetics core with the Zealot. It is, yeah, it's an interesting approach here. And it's cool to see that a lot of Protoss players recently have been changing up their openers, where I think if we go back 6 months in time, almost every single Protoss is opening up with core first. But nowadays it feels like Nexus before core definitely has the upper hand. Now this Zealot build order, I mean, it seems to work out, so I'm not going to bash it too much. It's just, I'm not quite sure what it's all about. just do not quite understand it. Like, a Zealot does not provide as much value, I think. And it does delay your second gas, which in turn tends to delay your tech by a little bit. There's a lot of gas mining going on, though. You see, he already has 150 gas, so it starts with that Adept and then follows it up with a Stargate again, most likely. Reaper's just checking around, making sure nothing weird's going on, as once again Gumiho is pretending that this is a Terran versus Terran. Gets the command center on the high ground as well. We'll have to wait and see what the actual follow-up is going to be. Okay, it's not going to be quick Hellions. This is more likely going into some type of mine drop. Or perhaps a 1-1-1 type of push with a big focus here on... Well, actually, yeah, big focus here on starport and factory units. No Marines are being produced yet, though. Okay, here we go. First 2 Marines on the way right now. As well as that command center, of course, being built. So, this is that a Raven? Banshees. Banshees or Raven? I mean, it's the only thing that makes any sense here. It could also be Vikings. Now this is going to sound stupid. Vikings with fake cloak. It's also a possibility. It's not going to be it though. Instead we see these Banshees indeed being the answer. Now, Gumiho is not aware of the fact that there's a Stargate somewhere over here. And the beauty of the Stargate against these 2 gas build orders is that the first Phoenix can go across the map and basically scout what your opponent is doing. And that's going to be a real issue, because the moment these Banshees get scouted, I'll wish them luck getting across the map. There will just be a battery and, well, in this case a natural. There's a robotics facility going down already. Classic says, hey, last game this robotics facility kind of paid off for me. Why don't I just get it again? And we see this Phoenix just making the complete scout around this base, making sure there's no fusion core, saying, hey, this could technically be a battle cruiser. And I know that Gumiho has played battle cruisers before in the past. But yeah, these Banshees will not be capable of making it across the map very safely when these Phoenixes are out. I'd love to see a blind battery in the main base as well. So like a pylon over here, 1 battery, in case this Banshee does make it there. But at the same time, I am really not all that worried. So we have Classic going around with his Phoenixes right now. It's going to get caught by this Cyclone, which is frustrating. This Banshee is going to move into vision, and Classic needs to respond quickly, preferably with a recall, or at least sending something back home. Banshee Cloak's going to finish up as well, actually. It feels like Classic did not respect this whatsoever. Oh, he missed the Stargate! How did this happen? I thought he saw it for sure. Literally the only spot he didn't see is where the Stargate was proxied. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. Still is only going to lose a single probe so far. We'll end up losing a couple more right now, of course. The Cyclone is already on the top of a ramp. It's now just going to get moved back down. Banshee moves into the dead space. Wants to run away for as long as possible from these Phoenixes. I think now would be a perfect time here, though, for Gumiho to move in. There's no Immortal out yet. We get a single lift on one of the Cyclones. And I think this time there is no saving this situation. No salvaging this for Classic, as he's going to lose power of both his Stargate and his robotics facility. He's only on 2 gateways. That's not going to be enough production. 10 workers going down, 13, 14, 15, 16 workers go down. GG gets called, and another very quick game here on Blackburn. And the score is 2-1. Game number 3 here over on Hardwire, as the first barracks goes down in a location that we don't see every single day. The one time we actually do see a proxy, by the way. We see Classic went for a slightly faster scout. He's going to scout around, make sure that he knows where the barracks is. It's a big difference where the barracks is positioned. If you know that the barracks is positioned on the side of the Terran, then you don't need to worry as much, and perhaps you don't really need a Zealot. A lot of the times we see Koreans, when they know that the barracks is on their side of the map, actually open up with that Zealot. And right now Classic has no information whatsoever. The Reaper is going to make its way across the map. This SEV is going to proxy a factory. At least that's what it looks like to me. It is definitely heading somewhere sneaky. Yeah, it's going to go for a low ground factory here. That smells a bit like a Hellion follow-up in my mind. Pylon on the low ground as well, and we see a Zealot being produced here for Classic. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting start, that's for sure. It's not exactly what you want. If you're Classic, the Zealot just delays everything by a bit. You have to cut some workers in order to get it as well. And he's actually not gonna let it finish. Cool move. I do like that. His adept is going to start right now at 208. It's a pretty late adept, but it's not going to matter as this Reaper is just chilling at home, making sure that the probe did not figure out that there was no factory. But I do believe that the probe kind of got that information, seeing the lack of a factory at like 145 is a pretty decently sized tell. Starport on the way as well as a first mine right now. There's no Stargate coming up as of yet. And of course with that delayed gases because of the the initial Zealot production, that the second pylon before it as well. I'm not even sure if a Stargate can really be built here. Classic says yes, it can be built here. And well, that's life, I guess. I just don't think it's going to be in time. This is what I'm worried about. So this Stargate went down at 245 to 250 almost. I just don't quite know. Like, you're gonna get what, two Phoenixes out? I don't think that's enough against this timing. You won't have any detection either. There's an armory on the way. This is the type of early game that, we could be seeing another 50-minute game here, 5-minute game. Once that, like, the first medevac is not going to be the biggest issue. That is an issue. Actually, it's a big issue. Who am I kidding? There's not even a single Phoenix out yet. It is absolutely awful. Like, these mines are going to burrow no matter what. Without a single Phoenix out, this is going into a 3 racks off of a single base as well. Gumiho is just pulling out the build orders here that I honestly hadn't seen before yet. Mines, well, what are they doing? Well, they're completely split. Robotics facility on the way. Is this going to be enough, though? I don't really think so yet. Thor! Okay, so this is going to be a 3 racks Thor rush as a follow-up from the proxy racks. This is a build that we've seen in the past. There's a single reactor pumping out Marines, and there's going to be 2 more barracks pumping out more Marines, and there will only be a single medevac with these mines. I mean, these mines are going to shoot again, and this is extremely painful here for Classic. The thing actually is, though, if this was a macro build order out of Gumiho, I would be extremely certain that he had won the game at this point. And if there was a second medevac with mines especially, that would have been great. But because this is going to be an all-in, and because Classic is honestly playing kind of passive, kind of defensive, this might be somewhat okay. This mine needs to get priority. It needs to get lifted right now. Classic, good lift. Did remember the order in which the mines shot. So he will be capable of getting every single mine before it shoots again, I think. Yep, just barely manages to get it. Now, does Classic know what's kicking off here? Is he going to get an Immortal? An Immortal is going to be extremely useful. These Phoenixes are not scouting yet. There's only a single gateway, so unit production is going to suck for a little bit at least. And there's so many units coming in right now. 4 more Marines, a bunch of SCVs as well. Second Thor is about to pop too. And Robo already on the way. Classic has absolutely no idea of what's coming to him right here, right now. Sees the medevac, does not quite see the Thor though. Immediately warps in another Stalker. Immortal starts as well. A couple of extra batteries need to be warped in. Super battery can be activated. Well, can it be? There's no energy available for a super battery, but with a pro pool, perhaps it is possible. Immortal chrono boosted out. Void Ray still so far away as well from being done. I mean, what? Just attacked his own battery? Are you mental? This battery is going to get targeted down before a super battery ever gets activated. The Immortal is out right now as well. We'll see some target fire on these Thors, but look at these Thors go absolutely bananas. The damage output of these bad boys is not okay. Void Ray will pop out, but without any batteries here. GG needs to be called, and the score currently is 2-2. We are in our final game of our best of 5 on Glittering Ashes. We'll have to wait and see what the plans are. As Classic opens up with that quick gate, once again leaving a single space for that Zealot to pop out and block any potential Reapers. We've seen Gumiho kind of switch it up in the past few games, every single time coming out with a new build order, with a new plan. And so far these little tricks have been working out greatly. I don't think there's going to be a second gas this time around though. We see Classic, and this scouting pattern is insane. Look how far he's going towards that right side, just wanting to know where everything is. He wants to know so badly if there's a barracks proxied somewhere. He really is very meticulous about this. And He's not. Yeah, he's just not going to be capable of scouting anything in time, I think. We will see a Nexus first go down on the natural without even scouting this area first. He's very wild. Classic is a really wild player. I did not quite know this. How wild he is in the early game. Just does all these kind of weird little things. This is what I call fake safety. Like, he scouts all the way towards the far right side and gets a Nexus before the core, before he knows whether there's a barracks on the map or not. Like, sure, you know that there's no barracks on this right side of the map, but that doesn't tell you anything about this side or in this general area. Like, there's just a very dark spot here, a black spot, and he can't see it. Yeah, I don't know. It is odd to see. He's also not going to be opening up with that Zeta like we've seen him do before. No, this is just straight up going to be a bit of an adapt here. We'll have a quicker Stargate as a result. Most likely he's going to build it in the natural once again. Yep, there we go. Does get it down in the natural. There's these two buildings. Well, they'll not be capable of providing much. Does he get the... That was the saddest probe. I love that he had such a good plan. But this Reaper's gonna move in, kill the probe for free, see the Stargate as well, and oh no, we have the Marauder follow-up. This game is just ended, just like that. We now know that Classic has won this best of 5. This is not okay. I hate this build so much. I understand that it's kind of safe. You know, you have these early Marauders, you get the poke, you get a fast Cyclone because you already have that Tech Lab as well. I'm sure it feels good to play, but it just never does anything. It just literally never does anything. It's going to just be, yeah, 2 Marauders once again. Reactor gets built here. It's going to follow this up with a second barracks. So perhaps triple barracks even, or just second barracks into Starport is of course a possible option here. Reaper wants to start moving in towards the main base. Sees, well, there's a cybernetics core. Like, that's... Oh no, it's just been a bad game for Classic so far. This bad boy is stuck right now. It's going to need to be recalled out at some point. That's 50 energy that you're just going to lose. These 2 Marauders actually getting in position to deal some damage. 1 worker gets taken out. That's a second worker that gets taken out. A full worker pool off the line as well. This is honestly the sickest amount of damage that I've ever seen out of this build. If that wasn't a missed target fire, we would have gotten a 5th one already. Yep. Going to get 6 worker kills maybe. No, 5 worker kills here with 2 Marauders. The Reaper is still alive. I guess this, if your opponent locks one of his own adepts in his main base accidentally, then this build is pretty good. Now that is a very niche scenario that I didn't know Terrans were anticipating for, but you live, you learn, I guess. There is a Viking on the way. We have the Stim as well coming out right now. This is obviously a really crap start here for Classic. He did not want this game to go like this whatsoever. We have +1 infantry weapons on the way already. And once again, Classic just opting for that Phoenix Colossi opener. Does get the pylon, or a 3rd pylon to kind of support these buildings. I'm not so sure why we need a 3rd pylon to support these buildings, but I'm all here for it. I'm just supporting Classic with all my heart because God knows he needs it right now. It's not been a very clean game for him so far. As this Reaper is still alive as well. Gumiho will follow this up with a... Yes, this is also a build order that I haven't seen a lot. Oh, Mind Shot actually damages a bunch of these SFVs. It's going to be like some type of tank push. Very heavy on the Marines, I presume. There is a second Tech Lab on the way. So Combat Shield can start a little bit earlier. There's no gas for a second tank. Is he going to prioritize the tank over combat? Yeah, he's going to prioritize the tank over Combat Shield right now. A Reaper moves in. I mean, if you see the Immortal here, you already know it's going to be Phoenix Colossi. I think the real confirmation is also still coming. You might be able to see the Robobay. Doesn't quite get it, but... The delayed 3rd base, the Immortal, like these are very major tells here that this is not going to be like Phoenix Charge or something along those lines. No, this just screams Phoenix Colossi, and we have continued Viking production here. This is a build that I first saw out of Cure, is where if they realize they're playing against Phoenix Colossi, they just get tanks, they get Marines, then just start building turrets. Back then I even, if I recall correctly, started building turrets with his push as well. Just gets this sieged position in front of his opponent's base with a lot of Vikings that can kind of allow him to poke forward. There's a couple of mines with this as well. This is an odd army. This is an odd little collection of units to kind of see move across the map at this timing, but I do believe that Gumiho is in a very favorable position currently. This mine is still alive. Classic probably wants to, yeah, trigger it is what I was gonna say. He's gonna get the, no, it doesn't quite get it. Almost would say just send in a probe, because you want to do it quickly right now. You want to kill that mine before the major push hits. More Vikings are on the way. Continued Phoenix production as well, but there's no thermal lance on the way. Oh, thermal lance already done? And triple Colossi as well. Now this is largely a Marine army. Combat shield isn't even done yet. It will finish up right now. It's all going to be about the Viking movement. Yeah, turrets are going to be built as well, so I'm glad to see that happen. I think this is a good call. And what Gumiho needs to do is just continuously just reinforce this position with more and more Vikings. And eventually Vikings and add in Marauders. You could even say maybe another tank if possible. You just have this really big sieged position. And with these Vikings you just kind of poke back and forth and then go back to safety with these turrets. And you slowly but surely crawl forward. These Vikings here are extremely safe. They can't be killed. Unless Phoenixes get sacrificed for it, or major Phoenix health gets sacrificed for it. Because there's so much anti-air damage output here from these turrets, from these Marines. One tank is going to move forward. We have another turret probably also wanting to be built. No, just some repairing SCVs for now. We have 2 extra Vikings showing up as well. Well, all of these bio units are just kind of going to die for no real reason. I think we're going to need another forward turret here. Guess another turret in the back. Double drop heading towards the natural. This gets spotted by this observer though. Classic is paying attention here. That scan was good. Sees the Phoenixes moving towards the natural. Finds his pylon as well. And Gumiho with this maneuver kind of manages to get himself into a good position. Oh, Phoenixes are going to try and connect with these Vikings. But still a lot of Marines there of course as well. Good control out of Gumiho. This is a very difficult situation to manage here for Classic. Fleet Beacon is on the way. Maybe he wants to go into Tempest here. Is that the answer? He has double Stargate right now. Tempest to break this contain. Of course, it's still 3 base versus 2 base, and Classic theoretically could still give up a base as the turrets continue crawling forward. These tanks are moving across the map as well. 4th tank has arrived right now. Don't forget that stims are not going to be very possible. There's only a single medevac alive right now. Well, there's not going to be too many medevacs alive anymore. Only 0 medevacs. That's actually none. Here comes Classic, trying to perhaps break this position. Battery not quite in the perfect position for that though, but these Phoenixes will be capable of dealing a lot of damage against the Vikings. First 2 Tempest are on the way as well. The Tempest hold against the tanks. This is something you don't see every single day. Colossi will take out that turret. Tanks moving forward as well. Perhaps Phoenix range could be a solution. There still is the potential here for the super battery, of course, which could be very helpful. Phoenixes will try to snipe 1 Viking, do not get it, loses 1 Phoenix instead. I think this base is dead. I think it actually needs to be given up right now. I don't think Classics should try to make a stand here. He should actually just go into 2 base Tempest, Colossi, Phoenix. I believe that to be the correct call here. Super battery can be activated on the left side. Can we? Can we? No. It's still off cooldown here. First 2 Tempests are out. We'll start working on a lot of these Vikings. This base is going to fall, and the Colossus are going to fall as well. Not enough air units here for Classic. I think Classic is dead. He's absolutely dead. GG gets called. Gumiho wins the game. In with that also wins the series. Kind of wild to see here, honestly. And yeah, congrats to Gumiho for taking out Classic. I think he was down 2-0 as well, no? I think he was. No, impressive, very impressive play. Cool build orders. And Classic perhaps just a little bit too predictable here for the Terran Mastermind. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.